Hey, everybody, this is Tim Shaw, and you are listening to the Black Cat Lounge here in the bowels of who knows where, but we're close to the transfer station somewhere down the road. Anyway, uh, it's been a great, great weekend. I got to tell you, first I went to first Friday night I had a sellout. We did a gallery. Hey, Keith or Kenneth, how you doing? We had a gallery, and I was telling stories, and that was great. So that was a great prelude to Halloween. And then on Saturday, I actually got a chance to go to the Buffalo Niagara Heritage Village in Amherst, New York, and they had something that was called Morning in the Village, Morning with a U. And they talked about all the different, I would say, Victorian morning rituals. I mean, you guys know that I've been actually going and studying a lot of it, and they did such a phenomenal job. I really enjoyed every minute I was there. So again, local places here in Western New York. I try to support them as much as I can. Christopher Booth, how are you, you handsome devil? Hey, you're a true Viking. I'm going to tell you that right now. You're a true Viking. And so we've really had a lot of fun, been busy, but I got something from a friend that is kind of I can't wait to open it up. I really can't. Uh, Jeff Fent is a master spirit box opener or builder, and it's amazing what his work does. And I got to tell you, and I showed you a couple pictures of it before, but here it is. And we're going to unbox it here today. You guys ready? You guys ready to hear this? See this? Let's take a look. Make sure I don't cut myself, which is normal. And our guest tonight actually brought it to me. Special delivery for the Bills game. That's what kind of a guy he is. We'll talk about we'll talk about how nice he is, okay? And he's got his instructions here. I will read in a bit. It's from the Emmett House. He likes to make all his boxes from pieces from different historic places. Oh, look at this. I know what he did. He got me pieces of the Emmett House. Oh my God. I gotta open this up. I gotta show you guys what this is for my collection. Let's see. It's like Christmas here at Black Cat Lounge. Oh my God. Look at this. It's a piece of brick from the Haunted Emmett House. Oh my God. Look at this. Oh, I can't wait to put this in my collection. Look at that. That's fantastic. All right. Thank you so much. Oh, what do we have here? It's light. This is going to be good too. He knows how much I love this stuff and how it goes into the collections. What is this? What is this? Oh. It's a bottle from the Emmett House. Is this cool? Look at that. Unbroken, dug up. That is fantastic. Oh my God. What does it say here in the back? Just half pint. That's all it says on there. Well, I think I probably drank out of one of these back in my day. Is this gorgeous? Oh my God. Thank you, Jeff Fent, for this fantastic. Oh my God. The additions to my collection. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, this is gorgeous. To those of us who who are object collectors, this stuff is better than any money. This stuff is better than anything that you could get. So, Jeff Fent, you are a prince. Now I have to figure it. Now I have to go and I have to find something to trade back to you. You know that. Thank you again. That is great. And Candace, I said you might need a full pint. Nah, those days are done. Those days are done. Hey, so I want to go and I want to bring in our guest tonight. Our guest is super cool. Our guest, I've known him for years and years and years. And I even hate to say for years and years and years because of the fact that ages like me more than him, because he is definitely younger than me. But I got to tell you, he's an entrepreneur. He is. I got listen. I got a whole list here of what he is. There's nothing that he is. There's nothing that this guy can't do. He's an entrepreneur. He's an author. He's a speaker. He's a sought after speaker. His schedule is like insane. He's a media personality. He's a member of the internet show. It's a hit show, The Ghost Finders. Fantastic show. He's a guy. He's been featured on so many TV shows, so many internet shows. It's insane. But mostly he's more known for something that he actually owns. A place that is one of the top haunted locations in the East, the infamous Haunted Hinsdale House. And what he's done, we're going to talk about what he's done up there, which to me is just amazing to me. So anyway, without further ado, let's bring out the man, the myth, the legend, and my buddy, Dan Klaes. Hey, Dan, thanks for being on the show.
What's up, everybody in the chat?
Isn't it amazing what Jeff sent? That brick.
Dude, I'll tell you what, those bottles, I remember him telling me the story about those bottles. That's like the equivalent of Jeff Fent, like chopping off a piece of his arm and giving giving his arm away to somebody. Like, that's how much the Emmett House meant to him. And to have a piece of that, you know, it's same with me. Like, I inherited a box that he made with Emmett House wood. And I think that is more, I don't know, it means more to me than anything that he's ever made me, because I know how much that meant to him. You know what I mean? So for him to send that to you, just, it's like him giving a piece of himself away. And he knows that you'll display it. He knows that you'll tell stories about it. And he knows that it's going to pay its homage to have that stuff with you. So that's really cool.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. Now, Dan, I can't believe that you're home on a Tuesday night. I figured you'd be back out on the road again.
Tomorrow we go back out.
Wow. Where are you heading tomorrow?
We are going to go to Pittsburgh tomorrow.
Ooh, sounds good. Sounds good. Is it going to be a magical mystery tour?
Basically, it's been wacky because Justin, Nick's cousin, has he had gotten COVID, so we had to cancel the first 5 shoots of Deathwalker for season 3.
Right.
And then we've been scurrying around trying to change everything around, where we're going, what are we pushing to the spring, because we want to try to get the 10 episodes in so we can get them edited and ready to go. And we were out till 5 a.m. last night filming, and
you were over at a friend's location.
Yes.
Lockport 247. And yeah. I remember, Dan, when you and I were there and I was doing camera work for you, and that was a fun night walking.
We were the first people in there. First team to be able to investigate in that location. And I actually utilized our footage from that to kind of remind me of some of the things that happened and some of the stuff that happened. It's funny, it's speaking to Heather. She utilized some of that in her talk to us, and she didn't realize I was me. And I said, well, I was the one that said that, it was cool. That's a little piece of what we did is being told now, 3 years later, at the location from some of the stuff that we uncovered. So it's pretty cool. And they've done a beautiful job with that place.
They've really, it's come a long way since you and I first went in there.
Yeah.
And I think you guys got some good stuff out of there. I really do. I really do.
Yeah, we definitely did. And Frank and Heather were awesome, and it'll definitely be a great show when it's all said and done.
Super, super. Now, Dan, what do you let's talk a little bit about how you got involved in this, because I don't think I've ever asked you that. I remember as far back as we go, I always remember you as a member of a paranormal team and or a internet show, and I know that's how we first met. But how did you personally get involved in it?
In what, the
The
Deathwalker shoot?
No, the whole paranormal thing.
I mean, I started, when I was a kid growing up in a haunted location. We did a show called My Paranormal Nightmare, and my sister was actually on it with me on Travel Channel, and that we got to. It was cool to actually be able to tell my story of growing up in a haunted location, because all the time I talk, it's always talking about the Hinsdale House. So it was neat to be able to actually talk about stuff that happened other than that, because that's what everybody wants to hear about. But it was, I grew up in a haunted location, nothing malicious. It was things being moved, stuffed animals being moved, crayon drawings on the ceiling, um, singing, dancing, things like that we were hearing. And it just got to a point where I was freaked out. Um, when I was 18, my first time I ever went to Lilydale, and and I remember it was with Ellen Bourne. And I didn't, and no offense to anybody out there, but I didn't really believe in psychics at that point in my life. It was pretty crazy for me to even go there. But before I even sat down with her, um, I remember her even telling me about the children spirits living in my house, and I was just like, man, I didn't even pay her yet, like what? She was giving me this information, and it was just kind of solidified all the feelings that I had growing up, just to hear those words come out of her mouth, that I'm not crazy. These are things that are happening, and I was experiencing them. And no matter how much my parents told me that it was people pulling pranks and all stuff, this actually happened. So it kind of just piqued my interest, to the point where I actually went back and bought that house from my parents when they were moving. My
Did
kids
you
started,
really? I didn't know that.
yeah, and my kids started experiencing some of the same stuff that I did, and it allowed me to get the deed, and do further research. I was going through microfiche. I actually found the two children that died of cystic fibrosis in the house,
Wow.
the death records from them. But the one thing that stood out with Ellen, and she told me that they were attached to something. This is all like haunted collector type thing. Like they're
Right.
attached to something in the house, and
Right.
my duty to find what it is for them to move on. And years later, it was going in one of those attics. Those little attics, the little squares, in the ceiling. Got to get a
Yep.
ladder out and get in there, and pop that
Mm-hmm.
sucker open. And lo and behold, on the back corner there were these paintings, and they actually featured the actual painting, a copy of the actual painting on the show on Travel Channel. And I still have those to this day. But it felt like once I acknowledged them, the painting was of a little boy and a little girl playing with a dog, and it was like it was okay for them to move on. I said, you can move on. We know who you are. It's okay to go to the light. And it felt like it just less, it wasn't heavy, but it just felt like, I don't know, like on It's a Wonderful World, when the little bell dings, you just know that
Mm-hmm.
something good happened, and I feel like they're part of my family, kind of, in a way. And that was kind of like, I call it like my first Scooby-Doo episode of my life.
Well, it's kind of funny because a lot of people don't realize that in houses that are active, you always try to find, especially if like a negative haunting, you always try to find the battery, what's powering it, why are they there, what's going on. There's got to be some kind of attraction. There's something there,
Right.
and once you discover it, it's almost like somebody just turns a little power switch off, and everything drops down. Just drops down. I think that's, to me, that's an amazing story. Now, Dan, why is it that you actually continued onward doing this work? Because a lot of people I know, they have these, especially the ones that I've worked with, they've had these experiences, and then that's it, they're done. They don't continue working with it. It's more than enough. What is it that is what is it that draws you back into this? It's sort of like that. What is it like that Godfather episode? What draws you back, Dan? I thought I was out. They drew me back in. Now, what is it, Dan, that keeps you going?
I mean, I guess a lot of it had to do with history and just wanting to experience that. I mean, experience it again as an adult. You know, it's like you have it in the back of your mind, all the stuff that happened, but kept being told it's not real, it's not real, it's not real. And then, I wanted to experience it. I wanted to research it, and I wanted to find out why this type of stuff was happening, to try to get answers. And I just been on that path ever since, and it's a crazy path it's led me down. It really has,
For you?
Yeah.
Really, it has. But have you noticed something? And I find that when I talk to people who excel in the field, that somehow things build. Something prepares you for like this time. And I mean, you first of all, as an organizer, I got to tell everybody out there, if you don't know Dan, this guy is a crazy organizer. He is probably in Western New York, I'll say he's the absolute best when it comes to bookings and doing different things. He's very, very detail orientated. Do you think that because I know that you used to book bands when you were younger, and you were a jack of like 1,000 trades out there. Do you think that all of that kind of prepared you for what you're doing now?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I do, because when I used to book bands and I used to book the clubs, it was all about promoting. It was all about how do you reach your audience? How do you reach out and get these tickets sold? And how do you let the knowledge be known that this band's coming through? Maybe they're lesser known or whatnot. And I did a lot of promotions of local bands, regional bands, national touring bands, and for the most part had success doing shows. My goal was to not lose money, to not lose. I don't want to lose. I mean,
Right.
it sounds horrible, but
no, it's not. I don't think it's horrible at all, because of the fact there's too many people out there, and I've met so many paranormal organizers that have great ideas, and they go and they take X amount of money out on a loan, put a second mortgage on their house or whatever, and then lose $10,000. I mean, the whole idea is not to lose. The whole idea is to get the word out, get the people in and gather the right combination of people in there. You seem to always do that. And is it something that did you go to school for it, or is this something that's just natural?
No, I went to, I mean, it was something that I always enjoyed, marketing. So I have a degree in marketing. I was also going to school to become an art teacher. So, I mean, I have a minor in fine arts, but, I still, I mean, it's like, it was like a weight, like I still enjoy both. I still enjoy art. It's like, just, it calms you when you have time to do that. Play the music, play the piano, I play the guitar, a lot of stuff people don't know about me like that. It's calming. Learning how to meditate, there's a lot of things you can do to calm yourself in between all the crazy stuff that you're involved with and what you're trying to do and what you're trying to
and believe me, if anybody follows Dan like I follow Dan, you'll see a crazy one of the craziest schedules you'll ever want to experience. On top of it, that he works a day job. And
No,
you do.
I don't anymore.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Oh,
I decided to go full time and try it out, and since June.
Oh, fantastic. That
Yeah.
means that opens up even more doors for you.
I feel like since I haven't been working the day job, that I feel busier than I was, even when I had that going on, because there's just always so much to do.
Right.
And so much that you rely on so many, I have so many people that help me that I wouldn't, even Tiffany, she's in the chat room right now, Tiffany Collette. Yep. I wouldn't be on the show right now if it wasn't for her, because she let Patty Bladden down at the house today for us. So she was down. She lives up the hill, and she was able to
Oh, that's awesome.
let the team in today for us. So
That's
it's good.
fantastic.
It's good having a nice supporting cast around you.
That's the one thing that I can always say. Now, I've watched the all the different people that had their fingers in the Hinsdale House since 2011. And I have to say that you have surrounded yourself with the most fantastic group of non-toxic people, people who are positive, people who really believe in what they're doing and don't mind helping out, that I've ever seen out of any team. Now, is that something that that you kind of like when you're looking for people to help you? Is it something that is naturally? Do you actually attract these people, sort of like a like attracts
I
like?
seem, I don't know, I seem to attract a lot of healers, and like I've like dated people that are in the medical field, and like Billy Lindemith, she's a
Oh,
psychic medium. She's
we love
amazing.
Billy.
Yeah, she's just like, she's the new Mama Hinsdale. She took over after Michelle left, and she's been my right hand person since Michelle started taking care of her son full time. And
Mhm.
and things always just all fall into place. And I love them. I love the, like, Amy, Casey, Tiffany. I have two Billies now. I have two Billies that help out, and I have just such a good cast of people down there. It's never, to me, it never feels like a pissing match, nor do I ever want it to be. So if
Right.
there's ever any issues, I always like to cut them off at the pass and just deal with them and move on.
That's, I mean, that is something that I think a lot of different locations don't have. I don't think that they have that background where they can go and they can actually be neutral, be in charge, but head all the problems off at the pass. Is this something that you learned along the way, or is this something that you just that might
No,
that
I think it's just growing up, and you learn. I don't know. I don't know when I can go back and say that I got this kind of frame, but I mean, I don't know. I think I go back to my first marriage in a way, and,
Mhm.
and I had a personal, then I was angry. I was upset that my marriage was ending, and I'll tell everybody I don't really care anymore. My first wife came out of the closet. We had two children. She's going down her path, and ultimately I was an ass. I was an asshole at the beginning. Like, I wanted to know why. I wanted to know answers. Like, and
Mhm.
ultimately it came to the point where she was crying over the phone with me, and she says, "What do you want from me?" And I'm like, "I don't know." I don't, and I'm like, and at that point I
Right.
had like a revelation, like, I don't need to know all the answers. I don't, you don't need to know everything, and you want everybody to be happy. And at that point, what's best for my kids, what's best for me, what's best for her. And it was just moving forward, and just not having to worry about the drama, not having to worry about what's going on in her life or this person's life. Just try to understand people are people, and people that are getting involved with that type of stuff hold themselves back.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I don't know. I think going back to that, really kind of pushed me forward as a critical thinker about every situation that I go into.
Mhm.
And I look at things before I type something. I'll see myself typing stuff and say, hmm, I'm erased. Like, why am I doing this? Why am I getting myself involved? And there'll be so many times where I'll see people that I care about starting to get involved with stuff like that, and I send them a quick message, and I was like, "Get that shit off of there. Don't, get you."
Good for you. I've
You
done
know
the
what I
same
mean?
thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
why even do that? And it's just, it is what it is, and it's like Tiffany said, being humble, being humble, and not having um, it's not, the Hinsdale is the way it is because it's not like Gollum. It's not like I'm the guy that, it's my place, blah, blah, blah. It's everybody's place. And I wanted it to be that way from the beginning. And I want everybody to have their own personal experiences, and I want everybody to enjoy themselves
I
with what
always
they're
remember
doing.
when you bought the place, because there were so many of us, I even thought about it, purchasing the house. And so many people out there, and I still remember sending you that email going, if there's or a message, There's only one person I know that could make a go of that place, and that's you. And that, I mean, really. And boy, I'll tell you what you've done up there is amazing. But it's not just the physicality of it. I mean, it's not just the, you know, boots on the ground, which we'll talk about in a bit. It's how you run it, how you manage it. You can feel the difference in the house itself from when I was, from when I first went up there. And I think I was involved with just about every group that happened to have been, kind of running it or squatting there or whatever you want to call it. But when you got a hold of it, it really it just became so level and even. And I think that has a lot to do with who you are. And I think that, everything is vibratory. And I believe that with you, I think your vibration up there is what really kind of keeps it. And on a separate note, I remember when you first were, I still remember, I couldn't believe you asked me to help you with your bio. Always remember we were at Starbucks and your bio. And I always thought, wow, this guy's going somewhere. I thought this guy's going somewhere. I'm so thrilled. And I tell everybody the same thing about you. And, and I mean, I'm not a guy that blows smoke up your ass. I mean, I'm a guy that just says it like it is. And seriously, you are the most level-headed person that I know within this field. And that, to me, to know you is satisfaction enough. And that's something that a lot of people don't quite get. And too many people get involved with the ego, and it becomes an extension of your personality. And you never got into that. The Hinsdale House for you is a sacred place. I mean, you've worked with Clara, Clara Dandy, now Clara Miller. You've known different people associated with it, and you've never had, and you said something, this isn't my house, where a lot of people are, well, this is my location. This is it. This is that. You never got into that whole thing and never became a pissing match between you and the world. No. That's where I think that's where you've become so successful, Dan.
It was also a respect thing for me too. Like, I mean, it's the people that were running it, Corinne and Mark and all those guys that were running it beforehand. I needed to know that they were okay with what I was doing too, because it was like, they started.
Corinne and Mark were great people.
They are. They really are. And they did what they could with what they were handed, and I can't say that I could have done any better than they did with the situation they were in, so
exactly.
It is what it is. It just needed to be, I make the decisions, and that's, hopefully I make the right ones, You
do make the right ones. Hey, we're going to take a 30-second break just to go and pay some bills. And you're listening to the Black Cat Lounge with the infamous, the handsome, the devil may care, the iridescent, effervescent Dan Klaes. And we'll be back in about 30 seconds, guys. Got to pay bills.
The Black Cat Lounge is sponsored by Paranormal Oddities, the little store with the big heart, Buffalo Phantom Hunters, Patronus Photographic for all of your photography and design needs, Nancy's Sewing Room, masks, aprons, purses, and more, and Wild Raven Candles for those magical times.
Those are some sponsors you got there. Nancy's wow. I can't believe she's sponsoring the show.
Hey, it was tough.
That is some outfit she's got going on there. I'm telling you.
Yeah, Dan stopped over at the house to drop off that beautiful gift from Jeff Fent, and I showed him the new house, and I took him in Nancy's craft room, and it's like, all of that's where our printer is, Dan. And all I'm going to say is, whenever I have to print something or I have to iron something, it is like, it's, what it's like? It's like John Zaffis's barn, because there's a little path that goes from one side to the other, but she's busy, and she keeps busy, and that's all. and that's all that counts. She worked hard her whole life, and that's the way that I have no problem with that. But I can listen. I got the best sponsors in the world too.
You do.
And that's not because they give me free stuff. I'll just throw that out there. No, I'm not. Hey, Dan, we were talking about what you've been doing. Well, before we get into more of the Hinsdale House, tell me about Ghost Finders, because we did some work together on different things, and then Ghost Finders came. I'll tell everybody about that, because Ghost Finders is a phenomenal show that a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah, I mean, so Ghost Finders is it's on Paraflix now. It's on Amazon Prime. It's a show that I got involved with. Rob Thompson and Megan Deputy and Heather and his whole crew had gotten in contact with me about doing the Hinsdale House for an episode. And I'm usually pretty thorough about how things are presented, because I want things presented in the correct ways. And after speaking with Rob, he could have been blowing smoke up my ass for all I know, but he sold me. And I allowed them to come and film their episode at the house. But the thing that really stood out to me about the Ghost Finders was the professional approach that they took with the investigation, the history that some of the team was interested in, and just how they went about things in a different way, trying to present the information that they've been given at the locations that they go to. And I really enjoyed, I had a small part in the Hinsdale House episode by doing an interview, but then I got to watch how they did things. And then when seeing the final outcome of what they did, I was like, wow, this is great. So then I, of course, when I like somebody, I was like, oh, you guys need to go to Wildwood. You guys need to go to Virgin House. And I started just throwing the locations at them where they should go film. And of course, they took me up on all of them, to a point where they asked me to join the team. And, I contemplated that, because how things went down with Greater West New York Paranormal Society. And I was kind of on my own path, like doing my own thing, just surrounding myself by people that wanted to surround themselves by me. And it would have been, I kept thinking about how I'm going to have to deal with people that I don't know. There's, but what it's actually become is a family. We've been through our trials and errors. There's been times where I threatened to quit. There's been many things, but the one thing that I can say at this point and at this stage of the game, everybody is elevated. Rob's doing amazing, Megan's doing amazing, Melody's doing amazing, and Steve and everybody that's involved with the team. When we get together, it's like, it's just like a well-oiled machine. We do our things. We've changed things around, and we've the shows that we're producing right now, I think, are quality enough to be on television. Quite honestly.
I do too. And you know what? I mean, I think that what you guys have been doing is actually setting the bar higher for yourselves to let everybody try to catch up. And that's really something that is hard to do in this day and age, especially with the onset of all the equipment that's out there, all the editing programs, the software and everything. But I think what I love about it is that, like, you guys look at different traditions and you kind of look at, what I love about what you guys do with it is that you look at it outside the box. Sometimes you're outside the box looking in, and then you kind of go and fit what you think might work for that investigation, instead of being a cookie cutter like most even network shows are.
Right. Well,
that makes a
the
difference.
The fact that we're taking a positive approach to paranormal investigating, which I know a lot of teams do, is why it doesn't get thrown on television, quite frankly. But I don't care. I'm having fun with it, and that's all I really care about. And I think that we're all on the same page. Like Megan and Steve and Heather and Rob, we've gotten to the point where we're just having fun. Let's make a freaking awesome show. Wherever we can put it out for people to see, they can watch it. And that's the other thing too. Like I've been hanging around with Nick and watching him editing and what he looks for when he's doing a shoot and the story. I mean, we definitely elevated our game as far as implementing some of the things that I've learned hanging out with him so much and throwing that into what we're doing, and everybody's kind of playing along. So
Working with Nick is probably one of the most educational things that I know. I even just having been involved in a couple projects that he's been working on. Working with him is just so amazing, and to see what he has done now, because he had a little rough patch, and now he turned around and he was just pushed his everything to be positive. I'm going to go and I'm going to do this. I don't care what people say about me. I don't care. Bless these people that have problems with me. Don't care.
right,
I'm going to keep going. And
maybe that's why I rubbed off on him.
You probably did, to be honest with you. To be honest, I mean, I can't think of a better person to work with than Nick Groff, and in the whole field. And, I mean, you and I bounce around, because I got to tell everybody out there, this guy over here is my saving grace when I'm traveling. You don't know what a spaz I am in airports, and this guy just calms me right down and goes, "Come on, Tim, let's go this way. I know exactly where we're going to go. Okay, we're going to make it. Don't worry about it." And he's probably one of the best traveling companions I could ever have. But he's somebody that really, I think that I think you've learned so much. And Nick Groff is probably one of those people that I don't care what anybody says about Nick Groff. Nick Groff is a phenomenal person. And I just love the fact that if anybody hasn't heard by now, he married a good friend of Dan and mine, Tessa, and who's a phenomenal psychic. And I'm just so happy for him. But I'm more happy about his success with Deathwalker, because Deathwalker was like an iffy show in the beginning, where it would go, and now it's been picked up by a streaming network, and
Well,
you can
it's
find
been
it.
picked up. Actually, we just were able to announce that CTV,
Oh, fantastic!
CTV Sci-Fi Channel in Canada is
Yeah,
starting to air them, and Discovery Plus UK, so all of the United Kingdom is able to watch it. It's on Really Channel and Discovery Plus, and we're just, if it's hard because we're not dealing with a My Entertainment or anything like that. We're dealing
right.
with me, Nick, Justin, and a small editing crew, and doing this whole show ourselves for a little. I mean, really, what we're doing is what would cost to make one episode of Ghost Adventures is costing us. We're putting in all this time and effort into it to try to make it the best that we can on a very low budget, and then we have a sales agent trying to sell the show for us, and so everybody keeps asking, when's it going to be in the United States? It's up to the sales agent, and hopefully it gets sold, and hopefully we'll be able to announce something very soon.
Well, and a lot of people, there's so much that goes into selling a program, selling a series.
Yeah, it's not easy.
No, and there's the problem is so many of these streamers and so many of these networks and channels are all owned by one corporation, and they put the stamp on it and say, you don't get it. That's it.
Right.
And can put the kibosh on you real easy. And that's one thing that I have to say that Nick never backed down on. And he just continued to improve himself and everything. And I hope you guys really go. Now let's talk about Hinsdale. 2011, Joe Piari and I go up to Hinsdale. It is a rat hole. Windows are knocked in, door is kicked in. It's December. There's people had gone in there and stolen the furnace and ripped out piping and all this other stuff. It was a rat hole. Let's go into the future. A couple weeks ago, now I've seen the progression. Of how Hinsdale has come. We get up there, Joe Piari, myself, and two or three other people. I open the door, and it looks like a historic landmark. The house, so much of it's been rebuilt. Foundation is stabilized. There's a new pole barn on the property. Grass cut. It's like a park. You know what? I could take four. I could take like Cub Scouts out there, and like we could teach them woodland skills. That's how beautiful this place is. What, when you purchased the house, and again, it had gone through different incarnations where it was just kind of stabilized. When you purchased the house, did you have a goal in mind for the future? Not just like as a paranormal place, but actually to stabilize it, to keep it going, to fix the house. Did you have different phases or
Yeah, I mean,
what did you do?
I kind of try to put together a plan with the most relevant things needing to be done first, utilizing donations and what we could utilize to just stabilize the location in order to save the money to get it done correctly. Because at the beginning we were taking any siding that we could get, any size, whatever, and just kind of patching things up and throwing things together and doing what we could to just make sure that the weather's not getting in the house and there's no leaky roofs and all that kind of stuff. So it was just that took some, even that cost money, even doing it the that way. But just diverting and then setting a goal and working on that goal. And then there's been like I was gonna do I wanted to do a cabin last year, or I'm sorry, the pole barn last year, and that got put on the side because the porch was getting ready to collapse. So we had to like get that. That was like, okay, we're doing the porch right now. I didn't have enough money to do the porch, but we started it, and by the end of the project, I had enough money to pay it off. So I mean, it was just everything fell into place the way it was supposed to with that, and now we have a porch the way the house was meant to be, an enclosed porch with the windows. And according, looking at the picture from the 1970s, there were 5 windows. Now there's 5 windows and not just 4 little pieces of mesh there, So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of going with the flow, but it's a lot of knowing what you want to do, like what's your next goal? What's your next goal? What are we working towards? What are we going to work on next? And you rally everybody around you. I have a support crew of about 100 people on Patreon that support the Hinsdale House, that have been helping, donating $1, whatever, every month. And it's helped progress, getting things done so much faster, having the support of the folks that are on the Patreon page, because it's $1,000 a month that we can put in the bank and say, okay, this $15,000 pole barn we're going to get this a lot quicker by having that money. And that's what we've done. And there's some people, some of the patrons are in the group right now, in there now. Michelle Timmons, California, she's in there. Look at her, she's promoting it in there for us.
Michelle is great, isn't she?
Yeah, she's awesome.
She's fantastic. But you've got some really good people. Now let's get into the spooky stuff. Okay,
sure.
Spookiest thing that ever happened to you there? Craziest thing?
Well, you were there. You were there when this happened. You weren't in the building. Were you filming it?
I can't remember which time, because
it was me.
I was up there a couple times.
It was Cameron. There's 2 spooky things. This is the thing that actually made me want to buy the house. Me, Cameron, and Michelle. Somebody was filming. It might have been you. We were just standing in the kitchen. All the electric was gone. The doors were left wide open. It was basically us saying goodbye to the house. Remember, we were up there for that last hurrah.
Right.
And, it was me, Cameron, and Michelle on camera, and we were just talking about the exorcism. Nothing was happening, and I had just learned about Flo and Joe.
Yeah.
And then I had K2 meter in my hand, and I said, "Flo, are you here?" And I got that jolting sensation up my arm, and the K2 meter went off on my hand, and I felt like I had a conversation with Flo Misnick. And then I don't know if you recall, I said, "Flo, will you hold my hand as we go up the stairs?" And the K2
I remember that.
The K2 meter stayed lit in my hand all the way up the stairs. We have it on camera into the master bedroom. And then when did I lose it? Is when we walked into Mary's room, where the portal was.
Right.
So, and then just with synchronicities, the next day, I went on Facebook and was like, look where I investigated last night, and put the picture of the Hinsdale House up there. And this is before I even owned it. And then Jackie, she sends me a message. I didn't know Jackie yet.
Oh, Jackie Chandra.
Yeah, you were at my grandparents' house last night. I'm like, what? Who's your grandparents? Flo and Joe Misnick. I'm like, no shit, unbelievable. Yep. That was the time that's what I kind of thought in my head, that I need to save this place because there's other voices here that need to be heard. So many unheard of, so many spirits that want to talk that aren't having their
Mhm.
voices heard. And one of the spookiest things that happened to me, I was there with my friend Kaylee, and she had
I
never been
love
able to.
Kaylee's a sweetheart. I love
Yeah,
her
she
too.
wanted to experience the place. She was from the area, and we nothing happened all night. It was quiet. So when we went to go to crash, and I was on the big couch, she was on the little couch. All the lights were off, and the only thing that was on was the night light in the living room. And I felt something brush the back of my head, like real lightly, real like a caress. And I like shook my head, and I turned around, and lo and behold, there was a shadow going in front of the light, back and forth, back and forth. And I said, Kaylee, and I kicked the other couch, and she's like, "Oh my God, do you see that?" And I'm like, "Okay, that's what that you got to see what you came here for." And she jumped over onto the other couch, and she was, yeah, it was quite the experience that to actually see it and then see it dissipate in front of my own eyes in that house. Because there's been many times that I've tried sleeping there, and it's just like it's so hard to sleep there because you just, first of all, you know where you are, you know what's happened in this place, just
Right.
the whole heebie-jeebies about everything, and then you start hearing the footsteps, and you start hearing all that type of all the noise going on around you, and it's like it's so hard to try to sleep there. The only time I've ever gotten good sleep is in a tent outside.
Really?
Yeah, and that's
Really?
crazy because I know a lot of people, but you know what, I'm gonna tell you guys, I actually threw an extension cord from the house into my tent, so I had a fan running, so it was actually diluting the noise,
Yeah.
so I wasn't hearing stuff, but it was comfortable. I was comfortable.
I'll tell you, I don't have a problem sleeping in there. I really don't. And my favorite, the scariest, I shouldn't say the scariest, but the freakiest thing is 2011 when I was walking, and I was on those stairs, and Joe was in the master bedroom. I looked down, and that little girl standing there. Shouldn't say
Oh
little girl,
yeah.
teenage girl. And she was just standing there and looking up at me, and she smiled, and I blinked my eyes. She was still there, and I thought she was just a kid from the neighborhood, from the, they saw the car, so she, on a dare. And there was a noise. I looked in, I went back, and she was gone. And this is before you own the house. Back door was locked. I went or nailed shut. I went flying down, trying to get out, and first of all, trying to see me run in any direction is always a treat.
Well,
But I went, and she was gone. And wrote to when I wrote to Clara Miller, I described her, and she said, "You gave me a start. You just described my daughter Laura, and Laura, who had committed suicide a number of years after she had left the house." But all her friends said, a lot of people had always said that she always wanted to go back to the house if anything ever happened. And I always remember that. And at that point, I knew that house was special. I've been in a lot of haunted places, and I knew that place had to be saved some way, somehow, some way.
yeah.
And uh I it we only, even going back as far as I've been involved in this, back to when I was a kid, I think about it, Dan, and I think that there's only been a handful of times that I've ever seen anything that that real,
Like
that
that
kind of a
vivid.
peak, that vivid. It was a peak experience because she looked like as real as you or I. And you never, if somebody comes up to you and is telling you, "Well, I saw hundreds of those," well, that's bullshit. You know, I've been in this a long time. I've been active with spirit rescue circles and all that other stuff. I've only seen it like just maybe 5 times, and that's over what, 50 years. So it's just amazing. The house was amazing, and it's one of those places that I think it reflects the people that come in there. Don't you think so, Dan? Because some people, like myself, I always have a great experience there, and other people are like, "Oh, I've taken attachments home with me," and all that. Do you think it has a lot to do with the people that come in to visit the house, the people
Yeah, I
themselves?
mean, I generally try to, I've had a few instances where that's happened, but I also try to circumvent a lot of that by speaking to the people. I'm so old school with this place. Like,
Right,
nobody really gets to book the house without speaking to me. So, I mean, it's
right,
or if I know who they are, they've been there before, they know the respect levels that I would want at the location. You know, and then of course I have my team there, like Billy and Tiffany. You know, they're weaving them out before checking them in and stuff like that, and we kind of stay on our toes. We know like if there's going to be something fishy going on, we kind of try to nip it in the butt before it happens, or we divert people to maybe like a tour or something. You know, if we don't want people spending the night that have never done an investigation before. You know, that just says trouble. You know, like
Oh,
so, you
you
know,
better
I won't
believe
rent
it.
it. I won't rent it. You know, come and do the tour, come and get to know the place. And then if you still want to do the overnight after I get to know you a little bit, then we'll do it, you know. But yeah, I mean it's a lot of it's about intent, and a lot of the property is about bringing love and light and positiveness to the location, and that's kind of what we've been doing for the past 5-6 years, you know, and you can see the difference.
Oh, you can, and you can feel the difference. I
Yeah.
remember going up there before you owned it, and I was doing some video with my dog, you know, my other dog, Ebony, and I was it was definitely oppressive. It was oppressive, and I, you know, I always have labs, and these dogs, I mean, their hackles almost never go up, and this dog started to growl at the porch, and she had been on there time and again, and she started growling, and then the hackles went up, and I said, yeah, I'm feeling it too. I have yet, since you've bought the property, Dan, I have yet to ever have that feeling. And I think a lot of it has a trickle down effect from the top down, because of the fact that you have whatever is out there, whoever is out there, the energies that are out there, understand that whatever you're doing at that house, you're doing it for the welfare of the house. You're doing it for the memories of those people who lived in that house, not
Right.
just not just like the Mishnicks, but going all the way back to the McMahons. I mean, I don't know how many people I've talked to that have rented the house or had bought it for a few years and then just, we can't stay here. I think that is the important part of what it's all about when we talk about your interaction with the Hinsdale House. And the other thing is that you turn around and you bring in high quality people to work there. I
Yeah.
really
Oh,
do.
yeah.
I mean, not just your celebrities, but also, the people that you surround it. I think that makes all the difference in the world.
It's a family, and it's like everybody that comes there is on the same team. It's not one person. It's you know, I want everybody to have input. I want everybody to know the history, and I want everybody to be able to give something, you know. And a lot of the teams that have come there have been able to give us stuff, you know, or produce something that is going to we'll be able to mark that down in the logbook that, hey, you know what, you know, one of the McMahon showed up this day,
Right.
or you know, it's like it's all there, and I love it. I love when teams call me up after the fact and they're like, does this name mean anything to you? We got this on it. It's like, and we're going through and we're looking and we're like, oh, connect the dots here. Oh, there's a new puzzle piece. You know, let's
That's great.
you know, it's cool, and it's cool to be able to have that. And we have, and like literally like um I have, you know, these books, and everybody knows it's come to the Hinsdale House that checked in, has been able to like write down their experiences in the books. It's like a Airbnb, and this is from like November of 2015 in this book, you know. And we have this one says not a whole lot of activity. This one says there was a whole lot of activity. This one says there was stuff in the basement. We got this EVP. Hey, don't be scared. It's just me. This was back in 2015. You know, so I mean, it's like I have all this information, and I want, you know, we're compiling this, and when we get this new museum put up, this is all going to be just for people to use, you know. And when they get there, they're going to have all this information at their fingertips to be able to utilize and put into their investigations as well.
That's awesome. That is fantastic. We're starting to run out of time, Dan. So guess what? It's that golden time where I want you to what? Sell yourself, Dan, to sell yourself. I want you to go and say, hello, I am Dan Klaes. I will be appearing at ABCDEFG. You can go and check me out at, all this other stuff. And on top of it, where can they get all your neat Hinsdale swag?
Wow. So So a lot of the swag you have to go to the house to get. So I have exclusive Hinsdale House only swag that you can get at the house. So if you want to get some cool stuff that's unique and it's limited edition, you got to actually make a trip out to the Hinsdale House. For all the others that maybe can't make it out or are interested in supporting, just go to danielklaes.com or danielklaes.shop, and that'll get you into the shop that we have all of our merch and cool things, posters. You can actually buy pieces of the house. Yeah, I mean, danielklaes.com. That'll actually get you to everything that I'm involved with, all of the tours and events that I'll be involved with. There's links on there for Wildwood Sanitarium. There's links on there for my friend Melody and also for my friend Madison Smith that I help promote. But yeah, I mean, check it out. Greater Western New York Paranormal Society is on there. So everything that I've ever been involved with, there's links to the page, danielklaes.com. And as far as appearances, this is my rock star weekend. So you caught me on a good week here, Tim, because
But no, wait a minute, Dan. Every weekend is a rock star weekend for you. Don't give me that crap.
This is more than one flight on any given weekend. So this is a crazy one. But I'll be in Salem on Friday and Saturday at the Salem Witch Con at the Hawthorne. It's sold out. So if you don't have a ticket, I'm sorry, you won't be able to see me in Salem this weekend. But Saturday after I speak, I have to hop on a plane and fly to Flint. And then I have I'll be walking into an amazing event that's going on because they're having this like gala dinner game show thing. You know, it's supposed to be really fun Saturday night. And then on Sunday morning at 10 o'clock opens the Mid-Michigan Paracon. And I'll be speaking at 4 o'clock at that one, right before the wonderful Andrea Perrin. And it's always a great event. You've been to it numerous times, and it's I'm looking forward to doing it, and then I'll be flying home Monday. So
that's because everybody loves you, Dan. Everybody loves you. You know what? I think that if everybody loves you that much, on top of sending $1 to the Hinsdale House, I think we should go get little tattoos of Dan.
Oh, Michelle already does. Michelle Timmons has a Dan Klaes tattoo. I was like flabbergasted when she got my website tattooed on her arm, danielklaes.com.
I remember that. Good for you.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
She's my first and only, probably. I don't know anyone else that's going to tattoo my name on there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You're the best. Dan, thank you so much for stopping by. I mean, I know your schedule is like insane. I'm just kind of like, well, I got some filming coming up, but I got a little bit of breathing room now. And man, dude, I'm going to tell you what, you're not one. I used to think Dustin Perry was the hardest working guy in the field, but you're going to give him a run for his money. That's for sure. So, Dan, stick around for a couple seconds so I can say goodbye to you. And everybody, it's always fantastic to see Dan Klaes, and really support the house, support anything Dan does, because if Dan's doing it, it's not only being done right, but it's doing it for the right reason. Okay, support Dan, I'll see you in just a couple seconds.
All right.
People, I always enjoy having a good friend on the show. Dan is probably one of the best guys I know. People really, he really truly is. He talks from the heart, and everything he does is from the heart. And he's probably one of the nicest people I know in this field. And whenever I get like a little crazy about stuff, Dan's like, well, what, why are you worried about that? You said to yourself, I always say to myself, yeah, you're right. So guys, Dan Klaes should write a book. How I survived the paranormal circus. That's going to be in his next book. But anyway, we'll see you next week, guys, here. Where else? Black Cat Lounge, where Elite meet next to the transfer station. Guys, ciao, be good, and stay safe and healthy. Bye-bye.